Between Thursday, July 3rd and Sunday, July 6th, 2025, me and my aunt made a massive, giant journey out east to Altoona, Pennsylvania, and surrounding areas to film trains there. This video will not be covering that. I want to leave all the Altoona stuff in its own separate video so people who click on the Altoona video don't have to see all of this stuff that isn't Altoona. You probably clicked on this video to see Larry's, but, I gotta shove these in here somehow. Our first misadventure on the way east was in Fort Wayne, Indiana. We were going to see the CF&E Railroad's Pequot shops, but, first we got stuck in traffic and very confused in downtown Fort Wayne because, neither of us had really ever driven through that before we eventually made it to the yard, only to find a Norfolk Southern auto rack train sitting, blocking the only roads into the yard. Since we were already getting delayed and we wanted to get to our final destination for this day, Greenville, PA, before dark, we decided just to not go to the shops / wait for the train to move. However, on our way out, we did encounter something very interesting off one of the roads. This. A GSLX butthead switcher. Why is it here? Don't ask me, I got no clue. Right behind it was this Southern Railway painted gondola, and on the adjacent NS main line was this cut of other, more modern gondolas waiting for something. Our second major misadventure was taking a wrong turn in Fort Wayne, sending us south on 27 instead of east on 30. We had to take this ridiculous route where we drove all the way down through Fort Wayne and then got on 469 to get back to 30, but eventually we did. It wasn't long after that we crossed the border into Ohio, and of course, almost as soon as we did, we were greeted by this super creepy Uncle Sam statue sitting on top of a billboard. Why? I don't know. This is Ohio. They do literally whatever they feel like. And speaking of whatever they feel like, we happened to cross this tanker truck with this absolutely terrifying nightmare fuel face on the back with 2 hearts for eyes and a smile. With how dilapidated it looks, ugh. This thing is my other sleep paralysis demon alongside with Bachman Thomas. Then we get into Mansfield, Ohio, which is a city that apparently exists that I never heard of before. It didn't even take into getting into Pennsylvania, and so we saw our first sizable hill. I wouldn't say mountain. We're driving towards the mountains, so I was expecting to see those, but yeah, this is a sizable hill, and we had to drive over quite a few more of those. And while we were doing that, we saw this car transporter with a bunch of wrecked cars on it, but also a military Jeep. Weird. I don't know how it ended up there. I don't know if it's an actual military Jeep or if it's just someone that painted their Jeep like this, but it's interesting, I guess. And finally, we arrived at our first successful stop of the trip, Akron, Ohio. In Akron, there's a restaurant called the Quaker Station, which is actually on the Akron College campus, and it's super difficult to access if you ever want to get back there. It sucks. Trust me. Anyways, there at the station, they have 2 abandoned steam engines. Yeah, I wasn't going to miss up the chance to see them. The first of the 2 engines is a Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy G3 switcher engine in 060, originally numbered 1548. The engine is in poor condition and is painted in the livery of the Quaker Station restaurant, probably just to draw attention to it and as an advertising thing. As you can see, it is in crap shape, especially the internals. Here's what the cab looks like. As you can see, the firebox door has been left open since it was put on display here, and the tender has been gated off. The cab used to be accessible, but the staircases have been deteriorated or removed. Here are the pistons. You can see it doesn't have outside valve gear. And finally, we get a full view of the front of the engine, with the 1548 number plate still intact. This engine worked for the CB&Q for its entire operational career, and I'm not exactly sure how it ended up here from the Western-ish CB&Q, but yeah, it's here. And the other engine is far more interesting. A Czechoslovakian engine that's so obscure I don't even know what the class of it is. All I know is that it was built in 1936 and it's narrow gauge. It's painted blue, and it was actually supposed to resemble Thomas the Tank Engine as an event for the Quaker Station, but the face has since been removed. You can see, though, where the front is still painted face color, and someone has sketched a relatively creepy face in the dirt on it. After getting lost again on the way out of Akron, we finally made it back onto the highway, and then headed straight for our next destination, Lordstown, Ohio. Anybody who's a rail fan, or at least a rail fan who does a lot of research, knows about Lordstown, because here there is an LTEX storage yard, where there are a lot, and I mean a lot of engines stored. You can see the edge of the complex here where they do auto rack storage. Now, we were here to stop here just to see the engines, and I thought that there were areas that were publicly accessible that you could go in and see them. And yes, I was correct. There are publicly accessible places where you can see the engines, but photography is actually banned inside the complex, or at least that's what I was told from the employee who eventually kicked me out. So these clips are technically illegal, but I have them anyway, so I'm going to show them. So here we are driving into the complex. This is past the scrapping area because LTEX also does scrapping, leasing, and rebuilds of engines on site. This is located at the Ohio Commerce Center. So these are cars that I'm assuming are from CSX since they have a transfer here. And you can see the piles of scrap, which are not actually locomotive bits, those are cars. But now we're getting into the real meat of the engines. You can see some BNSF ones, a Norfolk Southern Jeep, more BNSF, a former CSX engine with a rebuilt cab. Rather interesting. You can see the LTEX patching. That red there is LTX's main livery. There's another CSX engine, another switcher, and a Jeep. And I don't really feel like narrating all this section, so I'm just going to go ahead and let Pass Me do all the talking. Take it away, Pass Me. Let's go ahead and take a look at these storage lines. So first we have what appears to be a bunch of CSX buttheads. 1167, 1170, 1190. All MP15 ACs up here. 1194 here is not looking to be in the greatest shape. We've got more CSX buttheads here. Wow, these guys are faded. BNSF, oh, those ones are Korea rail. BNSF H1 SW, good, interesting. Co-rail, Korea rail, wow. An Illinois Central Death Star. UPSWs or something. Warning remote control locos. Just a lot of CSX MP15s it looks like down this way. There's some engines behind them, but no good looks at those. An older CSX style of MP15. Looks like a former Norfolk Southern one there. Some Genesee and Wyoming paint. Machining Valley. Oh boy. Ooh, BN Green. That one's on the lookout for list. More buttheads. It's just all buttheads. Green, that one's in shockingly good shape. Reliability. Ooh, I can see some Kansas City Southern up ahead. More CSX MP15s. Not much to say there. There's a KCS one up ahead. Kansas City Southern, more BNSF H1 it looks like. There's the Kansas City Southern one. Up ahead. Okay. Mount State Carbon, interesting. More UP. I mean, obviously they're all LTX patched. CSX Jeeps, CSX Buttheads, 1212, 11, 1241, some actual LTEX painted. That's what LTEX's paint scheme looks like. It's all red, and there's also this orange variant. An MP15, GP15-1, LTX 1439. If you look down there, you can see even more former CSX MP15s. So, 2 more CSX engines. These ones look to be in decent condition. Spirit of DOD, 1969 to 2010. I don't know what that means. Anyways, yep. LTX 3029 back there, Norfolk Southern engine. There's the Trump 2024 coach. And just back here, there's more engines. 1540. Oh yeah, we're getting out of the realm of a blue bonnet. We're getting out of the realm of switchers now and into the realm of, oh my god, they bring his face on the back. We're getting out of the realm of switchers now and into the realm of Jeeps and road locomotives. Another blue bonnet all the way back there. And we got some CSX Jeeps right in front of us. LTX is the first destination for any CSX power that's going out of service because they connect to it. Well, these are road slugs. Yeah, road slug, RD slug. All road slugs here. Proper slug. Trenton will be excited to see that. No idea. That's a Norfolk Southern rebuild too. Ooh, there's Amtrak engines back there. Interesting. More CSX road slugs, and you can tell they've been here for a long time with how much weeds. There's a normal slug, 1024. Wow, that one doesn't even have yellow ends. That's cursed. Or at least doesn't have one end. Weird. Then a guy turned onto the road we were on, and we got kicked out of Larry's. I'm not shocked. I kind of expected that would happen, and at least we didn't get the police called on us or anything stupid. Wellsboro. But, you know, it's fine. I got definitely a lot of engines. Not everything I wanted to, but there's certainly a lot of engines in those clips, like those career rail engines, that I will literally never see another engine in that paint scheme. Ever. With all of our on-the-road stops completed for the first day, we decided to now go to Greenville, Pennsylvania. Greenville was where we had reserved a hotel. Our plan was to break the trip there into 2 different sections. And we would be staying the first night in Greenville and then driving the rest of the way to Altoona in the morning. As we were driving into Greenville, we happened to cross a railroad crossing. I thought the only line that ran in this area was the Canadian National's Bessemer subdivision. So I was very shocked when we drove over this, and it turned out to actually be a Norfolk Southern branch line. Now I know that NS does have locals and stuff that run through Greenville, but at the time I actually had no idea, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, we decided to stop in Greenville specifically for 2 reasons. Number 1, so I can see the Bessemer subdivision, and number 2, to see the preserved O-10-2 and at the railroad park in Greenville. Also on this section of the trip, we had completed the road bingo that I had set out to finish. My mom gave me road bingo with the challenge to see if I could get every single one of them by the end of the trip, which I eventually did, although it's not completely filled out on this sheet. Eventually, we arrived at our motel in Greenville, and it was a very nice motel. It was Seances? I think that's how you say it. Definitely recommend it if you're ever staying in Greenville. After dropping off most of our stuff at the motel, we headed out to the Greenville Railroad Park. However, on our way, we found this covered bridge over a river, the Shenango River. This is apparently the only covered bridge left in the entirety of Pennsylvania that's original. So that's interesting, I guess. It was in a park, and my aunt is a park fanatic, so we decided to stop just to get some pictures and stuff, and look for crinoids in the rocks. If you don't know what that is, Google it. It's awesome. Anyways, we also got bit by mosquitoes really badly while we were there, and we had to deal with that for the rest of the trip, so great. We did finally, eventually arrive at the Greenville Railroad Park, and the first thing we saw once we arrived was this billboard with plenty of posters on it, and it just so happened to have a Greetings from Altoona, Pennsylvania sticker, which is just amazing considering we were going there. And then we got to see the crown jewel of the collection. Union Railroad O-10-2 Union Type number 604, which, as I just said, is an O-10-2. Let that sink in. That is a ridiculous and very stupid wheel configuration. But I love ridiculous and very stupid wheel configurations, especially when I get to see the last survivor of said wheel arrangement in person. Because yes, this is the last 010-2 in the world. And if you can believe it, it's a switcher. This thing is unbelievably big chungus for switcher standards. Yeah. The engine was used by the Union Railroad to switch out cars in Pittsburgh at the steel foundries for the Union Railroad before eventually getting sold to the Duluth, Mesabi, and Iron Reign to switch ore cars. And then it was brought back to here, and it was actually until very recently still wearing its DM&IR livery. The pictures on Google Maps even still have it in that livery. However, currently it's wearing its Union Railroad colors. Also in the park was this Bessemer and Lake Erie caboose, number 1985. This Union Pacific caboose with the giant flag on the side, very patriotic for 4th of July weekend, which this was. Here's an Erie flat car that was converted into a passenger car, a little interesting. And here's a red Wheeling and Lake Erie caboose, numbered 0205, which is strange. Across the tracks, which are in fact the Bessemer subdivision, we got to see a Norfolk Southern Depot and NS branded Mal truck. Oh, and also this little guy was enjoying the scenery of the railroad just as much as we were, perfectly blending into the rocks. Gosh darn it, I love grasshoppers so much. After that, we went back to the hotel. It was getting late and we needed sleep. We chilled in the hotel for a little bit longer before we eventually did go to sleep, and we ended up waking up the next day, of course. What, do you think we were going to die in our sleep or something? No, I wouldn't be making a video about this if that did happen. The next day, we got up pretty early to leave the motel so we'd have plenty of time for Altoona and our other stops. So, as soon as we could, we went out onto the road and eventually just drove. It was a long way, much longer than I was expecting, for the complete journey down to Altoona. I mean, I don't know what I should have been expecting. They're pretty far away. It was only like a 2-hour drive. It's just I expected them to be really close since they're both in Pennsylvania. But Pennsylvania is a thick state, so who am I to say anything? Also, somehow on this leg of the trip, I managed to stab myself with a pencil. You can see the graphite on my leg there. That's great. Anyways, eventually, after what felt like a stupidly long amount of driving, we arrived in Puxatawny, Pennsylvania. Yeah, the Puxatawny you're thinking of. There were a few reasons why we wanted to stop here. 1, it was on the way and it was funny. 2, who doesn't want to see Puxatawny Phil? And 3, one of my aunt's friends over in Germany was like, dude, Groundhog Day is my favorite movie. You've got to get me something from Puxatawny. So, yeah. We eventually made it to Gobbler's Knob, which is where the visitor center and store for Puxatawny Phil is located. And the store was closed. It was the 4th of July. I don't know what we were expecting. Again. We did decide to come back on the way back from Altoona, though, to actually buy stuff at the store. However, we did get to see the podium where Phil makes his yearly announcement at Groundhog Day on whether there'll be 6 more winks of winter or not. The area was really cool with the donated bricks on the floor, the giant illustration of Phil, and of course the giant wooden log that Phil pops out of on Groundhog Day, and whether he goes back in or not determines whether there'll be 6 more weeks of winter. Also on site, there was a trail, a small loop, and we hiked it. And on the trail, there was a bunch of these metal structures that are made by Jeff Tech University welding students. There was a car, a train, and even a giant plane. Eventually, with nothing else to do until the center opened, which was a long time from now, we decided to leave Gobbler's Knob, and this was our final stop on the journey, other than bathroom and food stops, of course. That wasn't Altoona. And so I'm just going to go ahead and cut to after Altoona. So just real quick, give it a sec. It's a little slow, just... And there you go, the power of editing. It's now July 6th, 2025, and we're leaving our hotel in Altoona for the last time. Pretty cool, huh? It's almost like editing was just invented, which it wasn't. It was invented like, geez, I don't even know how long ago. Can you tell this video is really unscripted? because it really is. Anyways, on the way back, we stopped in Puxatawny again, and of course we saw Genesee in Wyoming, and also it's Phil.
Or one of them anyway.
Phil, I don't know if it's Phil or Phyllis, but...
And then Sunny and Shadow are both in there too.
Hello. Oh boy. That one's tired. You are digging it, looks like. Yep, that's right. We got to see the real, actual Puxatawny Phil and his family in their enclosure, which can be seen by the public through a viewing window at the library in Puxatawny. So that was really cool. We also went ahead and bought Puxatawny Phil merchandise for my aunt's friend while we were here. After quite a lot more driving, eventually we left Pennsylvania, the state we came here to see, which you barely have seen any of in this video because, well, this doesn't include Altoona, and we eventually crossed back over into Ohio. Insert Ohio meme here. We had one more planned stop on the trip, though, the last one that will be covered in this video because, well, there weren't any others. Marblehead Lighthouse in Marblehead, Ohio, which is on that little peninsula over by where Cedar Point is. This is a state park, and so, of course, my aunt wanted to visit it. And I'm like, well, I got to give her at least one planned stop on the trip, so we ended up stopping here. We headed into the park, and we started going around until we realized it was 3:30 and the park closed at 4. So we quickly made our way up the lighthouse without even stopping to take any pictures, and we wanted to take in the view instead. We got to see Sandusky, Cedar Point, which is apparently like going bankrupt right now, so that's fun. And of course, Lake Erie, and all the boat people who are going at, quite frankly, ridiculous speeds on the lake. But hey, that's the point of the lake, right? And here we have the actual lighthouse itself. Definitely not as big as I was imagining, but certainly interesting, especially knowing it's the oldest one in continuous operation in the state. Also, climbing it sucked. And after that, we only had one more stop. Back home. But of course, things had to be as difficult as possible because there was a car accident, which caused a bunch of traffic, and then a bunch of complete numbskull idiot drivers kept cutting us off and doing a bunch of stupid things. Eventually, though, we made it back into Indiana, and things were pretty chill from there. We did get to see these super awesome cloud formations as well, which I don't know anything about clouds, so I don't know what these are. And also, look, one of them looks like a dragon. That's cool. And, yeah, that's it. Those were the final pictures and videos I took on the trip. I hope you enjoyed this very slapped together, very bad, and honestly extremely low standards video that I slapped together just because I want to get to editing the Altoona bit. I'm saving all my energy, resources, and sanity for that video. So I hope to see you in that one. But for now, catch those units while you can, especially the ones owned by Larry, and I'll see you in the next video.